What's good, YouTube? Onaedo here. So I am here on this channel, Morbid Facts. I love this guy's channel because everything that he does come up with will either like really shock you or at least you're just like, damn, like you didn't know. Very interesting channel. Shout outs. Morbid Facts. I think it's like a conspiracy. I think that's the title, the name of his actual page. But anyways, whatever. Everything will be linked in the description if you want to go check out his channel, which you should. Dope channel. But Mark Wahlberg is somebody who is really under the radar, and he's one of those white guys who is really kind of accepted in the black community as, you know, the white boy with swag type shit. And it's crazy because he has a crazy past that if you don't know, you wouldn't know. Because even I used to like, you know, he's definitely that cute white boy in the black community who, you know, hey, black girls love him. And, you know, the black dudes know he's cool type shit. But you have no clue what this guy's past is really involved in. Or what his past involves, I should say. So let's just check this out.
Here's some morbid facts about Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg was addicted to cocaine by the age of 13 and had committed at least 20 criminal offenses by the time he turned 21. In 1986, a 15-year-old Wahlberg and 3 friends chased after 3 black kids while yelling, "Kill the N-word, and throwing rocks at them. In 1988, Mark was arrested for the unprovoked racist attack on 2 Vietnamese Americans, leaving one of the victims blind. Mark was initially charged with attempted murder, but only ended up serving 45 days in prison since he was only 16.
Now, how crazy is that?
2 Vietnamese...
Leave it on here. How crazy, though? How crazy? It's one thing to have a racial past, because there's some celebrities who, you know, it's come out, oh man, that they were, you know, they used to say the N-word, or they used to say the whatever kind of racial term towards Asians, or whatever. There's, you know, I know Justin Bieber got slack for it. There's a couple young ladies who have also gotten in trouble. But the difference is, it's different if it's just some young white kid who is trying to be cool and he's saying the N-word. I don't support it, but we know, wait, we're not going to be fake and be hypocritical. We definitely know white boys try to be cool with the black kids, so they want to say the slangs, they want to say the term. Does it mean they're racist? No. Dumb, ignorant, all that shit, yes. But actually racist and really have bad blood for a black person because they're saying the N-word, it depends on how you say it. It's, like I said, a lot of these white kids say it, they'll sing along with it because they want to feel cool. They'll say it because they heard it in a movie. They want to, you know, they want to feel like they can, you know, they're part of the crew in a sense. But it is strictly for like, hey, they want to feel cool. Corny, it is, but hey, we know white people are not the race that's known to be cool. That's one thing. Like how Justin Bieber got in trouble when he was younger, because I think there were videos or whatever of him saying the N-word. That's one thing. But acting, this story of Mark Wahlberg, this is active racism. This isn't just, oh, when he was younger, he was saying the N-word. Because then that's something that you kind of have to like, okay, what's the context? What was the nature of him saying the N-word? What was this? What was that? Don't get me wrong. I'm not one, if you know my channel, you know I'm not one to give no white person no kind of pass. Just in the name of, oh, well, they were young type shit. No, like I genuinely believe in being fair, however. So I believe in context. And you have to also know how just people are. I don't believe that just because a white guy says the word nigger or the N-word, for YouTube's sake, for the N-word, that makes him automatically a racist. No, but how you say it is what makes the difference. In his case, he's not just saying it, he's acting. He is acting. This is active racism. You are chasing 3 kids down the street talking about kill the nigger, kill the nigger, kill the what? And then you're throwing rocks at it, at him, at them. That's number 1. And then number 2, imagine that there's a Vietnamese man somewhere in the world right now that's blind. Why? Because Mark Wahlberg was throwing rocks, chasing Vietnamese kids. If he's throwing rocks while chasing them, what the fuck do you think he would have done if he actually caught these children? If you're bold enough to chase a child, throwing rocks while you're chasing them, calling them all kinds of slurs, What do you think will actually happen if he did catch said child? If he actually now murdered a child when he was younger in the name of being a racist, will he now get older and will be like, oh, but he was a kid? Absolutely not. This kind of racism you do not outgrow. Miss me with that shit. You do not outgrow this kind of racism because this is an active racism. This isn't just like, this is something that's from your soul for you to be chasing children and throwing rocks, attempting to definitely do harm. You don't outgrow this. I can understand you using the N-word when you were a kid and you grow up and you realize, okay, there are consequences or there are issues with it, whatever. But when you start acting on your racist act, to me, that's different. You can't outgrow that. To each his own, my opinion, hence why it's onaedo.s. thoughts. My thought, you cannot outgrow such kind of racism. You can't, because you're acting on it. You are fully committed to this. Someone in the comments, which was cracking me up, someone in the comments said that Mark Wahlberg has the best PR team money can buy, because people don't know this about his past. People have no clue about this history of his. On Wikipedia, there's a whole section just dedicated to his actual crimes. To his actual crimes. Like, this is his Wikipedia page, and on your own time, please go look it up, because this is crazy. This is crazy that this is Mark Wahlberg's past. This is his past. 15-year-old Mark Wahlberg chased three friends, and his three friends chased after three black children while yelling, kill the nigger, and throwing rocks at them. Next day, Wahlberg and the others followed a group of mostly black fourth graders, including one of the victims from the previous day, taking a field trip on the beach, yelling racial epithets, threw rocks at them, and summoned other white males who joined in the harassment. Like, how crazy is that? This man was a fucking terror. Like, how crazy? That's a dark past. Like, you're not just racist, yo. You are acting on it. And it's crazy because if you don't know this about him, you will have no clue. The way they have drawn up his career is marvelous. Like I said, the comment said, one heck of a PR team. You will have no idea that this is really who this man is. And we're not going to act like being 15 and 16 is that young and you just don't know what you're doing. Because I remember when I was 15 and when I was 16, who I was and the things I did, oh yeah, they're ingrained. On this level, this isn't like a 9-year-old child we're talking about. This isn't a 6-year-old boy we're talking about. At 15, your habits are ingrained. You know exactly what you're doing at 15. We're not going to act like, oh, he was a kid and he was young and he didn't know what he was. At 15 years old, I remember what I was like when I was 15, when I was 16. I 100% knew what I was doing. 100%. Like, how crazy is that? I don't want to have to read everything, but it's crazy. Mark Wahlberg, then 16, he's graduated to another year, assaulted a middle-aged Vietnamese American man. Like, you're a kid assaulting a man on the street, calling him a Vietnam fucking shit and knocking him unconscious with a large wooden stick. Like, this is just a hateful fucking person. This is a hateful fucking person. Like, that's crazy to me. This is a hateful man, and his hate is only targeted towards people of color. And that's one thing, if that's the case. But like I said, when his career is presented in a way like he's the cool white kid, he's the cool, tough guy, Marky Mark, and he's presented almost like he's the cool white boy in the black community. Marky Mark, street cred, they give it to him. And it's crazy that this is actually who he is. This is his actual past and his history. That's nuts to me. Later, so after he done knocked over a Vietnamese American man unconscious, later in the same day, he attacked Johnny Trin, another Vietnamese American, punching him in the eye. When he was arrested and returned to the scene, he told officers, "I'll tell you now, that's the motherfucker whose head I split open." So clearly just, no remorse. Would explain that he was on PCP at the time. Telling me you're on PCP, because there's people who say, oh, well, he was young and he was on drugs. If it was PCP that was making him act out, then he would just be a violent person, period. If it was PCP making somebody act up and just bring out this violent side, then he would just be a violent person. He would see an old white man and knock him down too. He would see a group of 3 maybe scrawny kids. Maybe he's just a bully. So he would see 3 scrawny white kids and bully them and chase them. Then you can justify, well, he's on PCP. He was on drugs. That's why. But no, even in your drug-induced coma, you are only focused on I don't like that word minorities. I don't like that word colored. But we would just say on people of color. In your drug-induced haze, you only got violence aimed at brown people. At that point, you can't justify that it's PCP. If you are also attacking white people, then okay, you are just a knucklehead, which is what it sounds like. If later on in the day, you're going to find another Vietnamese man and just start attacking him, clearly, you're deranged. And your derangement is focused on only on a certain type of people. So for him to be this kind of person and his career is what it is, holy crap, you are not convinced. And then on top of that, it's not like, okay, this is who he was, and then he eventually went into a field that, okay, he has exposed him to more black people or more Asian people, more just, just a realer setting. No, he then moved to Hollywood. He's now in the Hollywood circle that's made up of 1%ers, 5% of the world, which is all white. We know this. This is the 5% white community. And he moved into Hollywood, and we know how much Hollywood discriminates against anything that is not white. So it's not like he went from this background, extremely racist man, to a career or a profession or just a section of life that would kind of, have him involved in the community, have him involved with people, whatever. Have him exposed to more people, have him exposed to something different. No, he went to Hollywood. That is probably one of the most racist fields to be in. So he now further has isolated himself with only whites, and not just white, a rich, elite type of white. The kind of white that has no connection to just regular people. How much more? They don't have connection to the regular world. So we're not going to play like, oh, he's reformed because he got older. No, he went from this to Hollywood, an extremely white environment. This racism in him, this did not go anywhere. We're not going to pretend he's just a good actor. Because this is crazy to me. This is crazy. Please, you guys go and read this on your own. He was on PCE, made unsolicited racial statements about gooks, slant-eyed gooks, arrested for murder, 2 counts of assault, numerous unsolicited racial statements about gooks and slant-eyed gooks, arrested for attempted murder. Like, this guy is just a menace towards other races. How crazy. He pleaded guilty to felony assault, 3 months in jail, but served 45. Like, this is crazy. Go read this on your own time, because this is crazy. And you cannot convince me that he has changed. Why? Because when you look up his life, this is... Now, it may be superficial, but sometimes you have to know how to read between the lines. How I know he's still the same man? All his kids, the sports they play are golf. I remember reading up about him. Now, this wasn't so recent, but I had to draw from that memory. I remember reading about all his kids. The only sport they're into, like the sports they play, is golf. I remember reading that and I was like, oh, yeah, he's still the same white fuck. Because golf is like the whitest sport on this planet. It's the corniest sport. You know, it's like this elite sport for preppy ass kids. And like you don't have your kids in football, basketball, soccer, and like these are all boys at that age, not even swimming. You have all these young boys in golf. Corny as fuck, but it's the whitest, most like elitist sport ever. And this is what you have your teenagers thrown into. I read that, I'm like, he's still the same. And you can't convince me otherwise. He's still the same. It's just crazy how he goes completely under the radar. Completely under the radar. Completely under the radar. Look at the first comment. What the fuck, basically? He must have the best PR team money can buy. That's facts. Because I've never heard any of this. That's facts. I know a lot of people haven't heard this. And he really does have to have an incredible team, because I've heard this years ago. Years ago. And yet, still knowing it, I forgot. He has a movie come out. I'm like, yay, Mark Wahlberg. So when I saw that this short from Morbid Facts, it was just like, oh yeah, I forgot about this guy. And I've known about this for years. But the way they still push him, and they have really just carved his career, you forget, or you have no clue of the like fucking menace that he really is. So everyone has a past, but damn, leaving someone blind, that's facts. It's one thing to have a past, just okay, you calling people derogatory names even. But when you start acting on it, that's a different story. That's a different story. Like I said, there's a grown Vietnamese man right now in the world that is blind. Do you know how psychotic that is? For a kid to leave a grown-up blind because you hate him because he's Vietnamese and you're white. The fuck? Crazy. Right? He said, yeah, facts. That's what I'm saying. Like, I've heard this a long time ago, but I forgot. Like, this is crazy. That's why I'm also making a video, because it's like, if I forgot, I know other people forgot. If I forgot, I know people have no clue. Like, man, it said his life is just an act. And I agree. Like, what a piece of shit. Man, what a piece of shit. Mark, the drugs made me racist. Like, you can't blame this on drugs. You can't. I can understand if he was also attacking white people, then I can understand you saying the drugs made me a violent person. And I had no love, I didn't care about anybody. That's one thing. But oh, the drugs just made you target only fucking black and brown people? No, nigga, the drugs brought out who you actually are, if that's the case. Man, though, meanwhile, Jonathan Majors runs away from his victim and loses his entire career. Boom. I think that was the comment I read that made me like, fuck, I gotta make a video about this, because that's a fact. Mark Wahlberg is out here with this big, great career. He has a good career. Whether he's one of the biggest names in Hollywood or not, his career is a good career. Yet, look at his past. But meanwhile, Jonathan Majors lost everything. Everything. And he's running away from his bitch. Running away from the victim. But Mark Wahlberg is the fucking predator. He's the one victimizing people. But he not only gets to keep a career, no, his career started after all that. His career started after all. His career was built on this past. But Jonathan Majors loses his entire career because a white girl lied on him. And then you will have people sit here and say America is not a racist country. America is not a racist nation, when look at who it rewards. It saw Mark Wahlberg's past and said, yes, bring him, we will use him, and we will boost him to the top. Like, this is who America chooses. Bring him, we'll use him. Jonathan Majors running for his life so he doesn't have to catch a case. Only to still catch a case. Because you're dealing with a white bitch. But Mark Wahlberg gets to go free because it's only niggers and gooks you fucking up. How crazy is that? And I gotta watch the words for YouTube, but damn. Assaulted is terrorizing. I can't imagine. That's why he was so scary in fear. He wasn't acting, right? That's the demeanor he had, chasing children. What a bitch. He said avoided 40 plus years prison, making someone blind just because he was 16. Man. Yeah, that don't make no sense. Dude, I've heard of stories of underage kids getting tried as an adult for murder. For murder. And you cannot tell me, oh, well, murder is different because this is only going blind. You're crazy. Let this be a black kid who ran off and made a white man, a white veteran man too. Let some 16-year-old black boy go throw a rock in a white vet. Let a 16-year-old boy go throw a rock at a white vet and see if he gets off because he's 16. Yeah, right. He was on cocaine through most of his teens. When he hit the Vietnamese guy, he was raging on PCP. For years, he thought he blinded the one he hit in that eye. No, not both. But when a reporter found the man much later, he said, no, he lost sight in that eye fighting, So no, Mark did not blind that man. The last violent incident he committed that we know of was as an adult. He said his neighbor used a racial slur regarding his black bodyguard. The bodyguard held the neighbor down while Mark kicked and stomped him, shattering his jaw. So Mark changed views, kept the violence. A priest who knew him as a child said Mark was the best con artist he ever met, and some of his best acting was in juvenile court. We know he gets no excuses. Like I said, I'm sorry. Nope. I don't care what drug you were on. That is who you are. That is who you are. And now he acts all pissy if you ask him about his crimes. I've never seen an interview of him getting asked about his crimes. I definitely want to see that.